Well, good afternoon. My name is Judith. Most of my friends call me Fee Flasher, which started as a joke and has now become my brand, strangely enough. So, you know how things get started and they just kind of take over. This one
Yes,
developed a life of its own. Yeah, it's been
I
one of
love
those.
it. I love it. Well, Judith, just tell us a little bit about what does the fee slasher mean? Like, I can only imagine, but I know some of your background because you submitted it, through your form.
Yeah.
But what does the fee slasher mean?
So Fee Slasher, like I said, it started as a joke. So I was working for a company doing payment processing, and I kept having these like ridiculous rate changes that I was able to get for people where they'd be like, yeah, you can't save me any money. And then I'd be like, oh, 65% savings somehow. So it kind of started as a joke out of that, that they were like, I might not be a gecko, but I can save you 15% or more was one of the things that came out on a shirt. And then I was like, I mean, I'm not a gecko. I'm like a female superhero. And then they designed a superhero based on my physical features. But it kind of inspired me actually, because I mean, what I do is the payment processing. That's part of it, is I work with business owners and we help them stop getting wrong. Basically, that's the long and the short of it is we do cost savings analysis with businesses and we try to get their life and their stuff in order so that they're able to have that extra money. So that's kind of the fee slasher side of things.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And one of the things that you wrote in your bio that you sent over was about really focusing on that overhead. And I'm sure that credit card processing fees plays a big role in that. So when you're sitting down at the end of the month and you're reconciling everything and you're seeing all of the money leaking out like a sieve, right? It sends you into a spiral because I want to keep this really centered around, women and how we feel like we're torn in so many different ways. And financial stress is real. I would say it's probably the realest, if you will.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what you've seen, what you've experienced with other businesses when it comes to that overhead and how you've been able to help them.
So um, I've had clients where their payment processing fees are higher than their rent. It's higher than their insurance. It's higher than, it kind of gets ridiculous, especially as you grow a business. So what happens often is people hop onto a business and they get something set up and they get started and then they never really look at it again. So women tend to be a little more attentive to our numbers because we're used to doing some of that budgeting at home. We're used to having to watch the overheads. We're more that side of things usually naturally is what the roles we wind up in. But I've had businesses where they haven't looked at their numbers since 2005 when they signed up with a company the first time. Um, I mean, concrete example is I had a normal sized restaurant, single location, and he hadn't looked in his numbers in a while, thought he was getting good rates because he had a good relationship with his rep. And we were able to get an $11,000 savings per year,
Wow.
which meant, I mean, he's getting new logos made, he's getting
Yeah.
new shirts printed, he's repainting the building. So all these things that he's been putting off because he just didn't have the money, we're able to say, hey, use a third of the money you're saving this year and put it towards some of those projects. Um, and watching that happen. And then on the other side of things, I have this one business owner that I've recently met. And I just love his mindset. And it's so much, I know I posted it. Part of this is my thing is about attention and intention. So he's very intentional about having a system that every 18 to 24 months, he runs all of his numbers again with a new company. So he brings the company in specifically to compete with the company he's with to see what's going to happen. And he's like, I mean, it helps me know I still have a good rate, but I'm with this company. And I'm like, I've had other companies that couldn't quote against that company and I was able to. So he's like, yeah, well, when I come out to my 18, 24 months, and it's allowed him to grow really big and really well. And he's super established because of it. And it's just, having that conversation was like such a point of wisdom for me because most people don't have that time. Most people
Yeah.
don't take that time.
Absolutely. And what you're saying actually reminds me a lot of kind of some motivation that I use for friends who, let's say, want to stop smoking. They don't take into consideration how much those little numbers add up. Not that it's not a lot to buy a pack of cigarettes now, it is, but it can just chip away a little bit at a time until you realize how much is missing. And like as a woman who owns her own business, what if that means you get to take that trip to Disney? What if that means you get a romantic getaway with your husband that you have not taken in 15 years? Like, it could mean so many of these different things, because $11,000 is a lot of money. It could be,
That's a lot of money.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and I
So,
think that's like what you're saying is very, very true when it comes to business. And as you know, another one of the things I'm working on is just soft launched the self-care initiative of Central Florida. So I think it's true in all areas of our life, especially as women, but I'm not going to rule this out for guys too, is we tend to give up little bits and little bits and little bits, and we don't pay attention to that. We don't notice it and we don't see it coming. And all of a sudden we're burnt out. We didn't see it coming. I mean, I've experienced burnout twice. One time was really, really bad, and one time was not so bad. But it got me to this position where I've had to learn self-care in a very different way, and self-care in a way that is about attention, it's about intention, and focusing on being able to listen to ourselves, being able to hear ourselves. You know, when you're getting towards burnout, you start hearing yourself speak more negatively, you start thinking more negatively, you start turning things down that were things that used to build you up. You stop doing
yes,
things like play, which I think most adults give up way too early, and or they like send their kids off to play and they're not doing it themselves. And I just feel like those things are things that we walk away from. And without putting the attention there and hearing ourselves and feeling that happening, we cannot be intentional about fixing it. So those are kind of the things that I've been
100%.
learning in business and in life, that I'm trying to help other people get into that pathway too. Is
Yes,
like, how do you pay attention to yourself? What are you listening for? What are you looking for? I mean, not being able to eat properly, not being able to sleep properly, those are really basics. It's like things that you can notice, but most of the time we don't. Women don't notice, hey, I'm not going to the bathroom. Hey, I'm not
yes,
eating properly. Hey, I've missed 4 meals this week. We don't notice those things because they become normal for us.
absolutely. And I was just going to say something. Oh, with your self care, one of the things that I've noticed myself, because I recently started working with a coach, and she is that coach that every woman needs when she's on the verge of giving up. And she really called me out. And I've been so keenly aware of that voice in the back of my head that says, this is going to ruin you. This is going to, it's all that negative self talk. And it can stop somebody. And what a lot of people don't know is that's the ego's way of protecting you. It's your ego has kind of a bad rap, but it serves a purpose. It's to protect you.
Mhm.
And so one of the tricks that I used, and it silenced it immediately, I said to myself, yes, I speak to myself, thank you for
Don't we
trying
all?
to protect me, but I've got this, and I'm going to go succeed now.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah. I
mean?
mean, I think so many women are afraid of getting big. We're afraid of what comes with that and the responsibility that comes with that. And that is legitimate. 100% it's legitimate to think it through though. But like, that's the process that needs to happen, is that's where fear usually comes from. It's asking us to think things through, to stop and pay attention. But if we can think them through. So I feel like it's really important for women to practice brain dumps on a regular basis, especially if you're struggling with sleep. Like, sit down and write out all of the nonsense that's driving you nuts. I mean, I
What
have
a
a journal
great
on a regular
idea.
basis that I'm
Yes.
just like, this was my before bed, like 17 pages of things that need to get done tomorrow, things that are running through my head all the time, things that are making my stomach churn. Um, but if I can focus on those things a little bit and just give yourself a tiny bit of time with them to see the impact they're having on your life, then you can actually turn them around by being intentional about stuff, figuring out. So what we're doing with the self-care initiative is we're doing small events to start, and giving people the opportunity to get exposed to a whole bunch of ways to practice self-care and try them out. So everything from play with knocker ball, where we're all going to play soccer in these giant blown up balloon things and see how that works for some people. I think some people it'll be a stressful thing, but some people I think it's going to just
Yeah, they'll have a
like
blast.
liven them up, all the
Yes.
way down to I have 3 massage therapists who volunteer their time because they're absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
And they're going to come in and like teach about the power of massage and what the benefits are. Things like dancing, things like, actually putting on a face mask, guys and girls, like it's a thing.
It
I
is.
think it's just so important to get clear on what you love and what you're passionate about, because when we get stressed, those are the things we put down because they feel selfish. But self-care is
Absolutely.
not, I mean, I know it's a totally trite saying, but if your vessel is empty, what can you do for the world? You can't do anything for the world. If your finances are tapped out and they're all being roped up in things that you don't need to be spending money on, all it takes is like putting a little attention and a little intention and outsourcing it even, which I know is very hard for us as women. We tend to not delegate well. Um, but being able to do that and being like, I have somebody I can use as a tool. I'm going to outsource this to them temporarily, let them take care of it. I'm not going to freak out about how it's getting done. And maybe I can lose up some of my time, some of my energy, some of my
Yes.
finances. Because if you're a business, if you want to grow, you have to make sure that you're watching your overheads. Those can be the things that make it so hard for you because you have such limited capital all of a sudden, because I mean $11,000 being burned on fees that didn't need to be burned, that's the launch pad for a brand new business if somebody wanted to.
100%. So, for people who are interested in working with you, whether it's on the self care initiative, is that only for Central Florida people, I assume?
So far, it's just Central Florida. If people have online things that they're offering for self-care, I'm willing to help promote those too. So they can put promo items, send them to me and have them printed out, or they can mail them to me and I'll put them out on all of our promo tables. They can also send raffle items. So we can raffle off like, hey, a free life consulting meeting or something along those lines, which allows them to get that extra promotion, even if they're not in Central Florida, as long as they can serve Central Florida. Right
Excellent.
now, because I'm doing it basically as events, we're going to be doing some more of the online education. We're going to be doing some more of the interviews with people to have those conversations. But right now with the events, obviously they have to be physically present for them to really
For
benefit the
sure.
most.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. And then for people who are interested in working with you for the credit card processing, how would they go about doing that?
Basically reach out to me. Honestly, I've worked with people in California. I've worked with people in Canada. I can work wherever I want to go, anywhere in the United States and Canada. They can just email me a copy of their statement and I will break it down and we'll have a brief conversation about what they're looking for and how they do their business. My thing is, I don't want it to be about payment processing. I want it to be about your vision, your passion, and helping us grow that together. It's more like it winds up being more business consulting because yeah, the payment processing is a good way to get money back in your pocket, but it's not the only way. I can
Absolutely.
connect you with marketing people. I can connect you with people who can help you focus your vision and figure out why you're stuck. People who work literally to help you level up your business. I have a team of what my partner calls our negotiation ninjas who will come in and look at statements from all of your subscriptions. So whether it's software or your printer or whatever that is, and if there's space for us to renegotiate, we'll renegotiate that too.
That's
So she
incredible. What a great
actually was able to
service.
get like $1 million cash back into a business owner's pocket by getting them a grant for retaining their employees and cutting all these costs in these other areas. So I
Wow, that
mean,
is
it's payment
incredible.
processing. That's the simple version, but it's so much more.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Renee is with us. Thank you, Renee, for hanging in there with us. I love seeing you coming back time after time to hear all these amazing women speak and share their wisdom. So, do you have any questions for Judith before we wrap up today?
I thank you again, Ms. Amber, but I don't have any questions, but I am writing down these nuggets. This is good nuggets from Ms. Fee Slasher. The points that I really like was in reference to self-care. I am a new business owner and I'm just getting nuggets today off this event. And I really appreciate the nuggets that you shared, Ms. Judith. And thank you for that. And I will check you out a little later. Thank you
Absolutely. And
kindly.
congratulations, Renee. Like it takes boldness to be willing to step out on something brand new. I highly encourage you, if you're brand new, to set up processes now. So if you can set up a process now where you say, hey, Monday at 12 is the time that I go and I take an hour to myself. I wander through a park, I listen to some music, I go get a massage for half an hour, I go to the gym, whatever it is that helps you to have that energy. Because a lot of business owners, I mean, We often work 7 days a week because some of us are workaholics. But you can make it a good thing. You can make having that freedom a great thing for you if you put those processes in place. I live what I consider to be the integrated life, which means that I am the same all day, no matter where I am, no matter who I'm with, no matter what I'm doing. If business comes up, it's a business conversation. If it's church stuff that comes up, it's a church conversation. I am me always. And I have my boundaries. Obviously, people can't call me at 11 at night, but I wind up making friends with my business people on a regular basis. Most of my clients wind up being my friends and people I'm advocating for all the time. And many of my friends wind up coming with me to networking events and they wind up connecting with people. So it's become all of my life. I have found something that I'm passionate about that can be all of my life. And if you can find that, like, you're going to be great.
I appreciate that, Miss Judith, because like I said, I'm a new business owner, but I'm not new to the business. I've had other businesses as an independent owner. But this is my baby this time, Blessed Bijou LLC. And I really thank you for the endpoints, trying to get off the ground. And there's a lot, and you're right on the overhead part of it, you know, and again, self-care, you know, putting yourself first and working out that vision. And that's where I'm headed. And I appreciate you.
Be intentional about when you're growing. So this is my thing with a lot of business owners is things have to change while you're growing. You want your business to grow. So don't say, hey, I'm going to set myself up with a payment processor. That's great when I'm passing $1,000 in a month, but now you're passing 10,000. Be okay with those changes because you want your business to grow. Don't let yourself create roadblocks by refusing to change on things that are simple. I mean, there's a lot of things we refuse to change on that are simple.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome. All right. So, Judith, your information, your email address is in the copy above. So for people who are interested in reaching out, I will be going back through here and tagging the speakers so that you can easily DM them, or you can obviously email her. Her email address is in there too. If you want to participate in the self-care, if you're in Central Florida, or if you have some prizes or giveaways that are self-care related, definitely get in touch with her as well. Is there anything else that you have to share, just kind of some parting wisdom before we wrap up today?
I think ultimately the thing is find what you love and be focused on it. If you can, like I said, take the time to pay attention to yourself, take the time to pay attention to your business, and then make intentional decisions, strategic decisions to grow that, to rock that, to make that be something that's going to be a benefit to you. You can transform your business. You can grow your business. You can get past those glass ceilings that we hit as we're leveling up. You just have to be intentional and focused about it. And we can get through this, and don't ever do it by yourself. There are so many people out there. I am not great at certain things in my business, and I have got amazing people able to use that are able to do that for me. And there's other things I'm amazing at. If I can focus my energy on that and be intentional about that and have somebody else take care of this, I mean, I'm not going to burn out because I'm always on fire about these parts. And I can have somebody else who's on fire about these parts doing that. So
absolutely.
Good luck, ladies, and I hope you guys rock it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, happy International Women's Day, Judith. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks, Amber. Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Bye.